The last rounds, Daniel had been a nurse for 6 years before he transferred to night duty. He didn't believe in ghost stories. On his 3rd week, he was assigned to the oncology wing. Quiet floor. Most patients sedated at night. At 2:46 a.m., his tablet chimed. Room 418. Oxygen saturation dropping. He frowned. That room had been vacated earlier that evening. The patient, an elderly woman named Margaret Ellis, had passed away before midnight. He remembered clearly because he had helped prepare the body. He assumed it was a system glitch. Still, protocol meant checking. The hallway lights were dimmed. Everything felt unusually still. No distant monitor beeps, no footsteps from other staff. Room 418's door was slightly open. He pushed it gently. The bed was empty, but the cardiac monitor beside it was on, and it was showing a rhythm. Slow, steady, beep, beep, beep. Daniel stepped closer. The bed sheets were flat. No body, no equipment connected. Yet the oxygen line hanging beside the bed began to sway. Then he heard it, a shallow inhale, right beside him. He turned quickly. No one. The monitor suddenly flatlined. One long, piercing tone. And then it shut off completely. The next morning, biomedical engineering checked the system. No record of any alert from room 418 at 2:46 a.m. But Daniel's login history showed he had acknowledged one. The woman who wasn't there. Dr. Adrian was an emergency resident during one of the busiest winters the hospital had seen. At 3:12 a.m., triage called him for a walk-in. Female, mid-30s, pale, disoriented. No ID, no family. He found her sitting quietly on a hallway stretcher. She was strangely calm. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated. "Milena." Her voice was hoarse, like she hadn't used it in a long time. Vitals were oddly stable. Skin cold but not feverish. No visible trauma. "Any pain?" She slowly shook her head, but her eyes, they weren't tracking him properly. They seemed slightly unfocused, as if she were looking past him. He ordered basic labs and stepped away to check another patient. When he returned 10 minutes later, the stretcher was empty. Blanket folded neatly, IV kit untouched. He asked the nurses where she'd been transferred. They stared at him. "What patient?" He described her in detail. No one had checked in a woman matching that description. Security reviewed the cameras. At 3:08 a.m., footage showed Adrian standing beside an empty stretcher, as if speaking to someone, nodding, listening, but no one was there. Later that week, one of the senior nurses pulled him aside. 5 years earlier, a woman named Elena Marquez had died in that very hallway after collapsing outside the hospital entrance. She had been unidentified for 2 days. Adrian stopped volunteering for overnight shifts after that. The morgue call Sophie worked administrative nights, filing reports, answering internal calls. At 1:57 a.m., the desk phone rang. The caller ID displayed, "Morgue, line 3. She frowned. There was no one scheduled in the morgue that night. "Administration," she answered. Silence, then faint static. And beneath it, breathing, slow, wet, uneven. She assumed it was a line malfunction. "Morgue?" She tried again. A whisper came through. "Cold." The line disconnected. Sophie immediately called security to check the basement level. 2 guards went down together. 5 minutes later, one of them called back. The lights were off, doors locked, no one inside. Sophie checked the internal call log. There had been an outgoing call from the morgue to her desk at 1:57 a.m. Duration, 14 seconds. The strange part? The morgue phone had been unplugged for renovation work earlier that week. There was no way it could have made a call. The following night, at exactly 1:57 a.m., her desk phone rang again. This time she let it ring. After 14 seconds, it stopped on its own. When she finally quit months later, she admitted something she hadn't told anyone. On the second night before the call disconnected, she heard knocking, 3 slow taps, as if from inside a metal drawer. The silent room. Nurse Sophia was assigned to a room that had a history of frequent patient falls and sudden deaths. One night she was charting notes when she heard movement, soft but deliberate, inside the room. She found the patient, an older man, standing by the window, pale and trembling. He claimed he'd been hearing voices, calls for help from other patients he couldn't see. Sophia assumed delirium, common among elderly patients on sedatives. But as the week went on, Sophia noticed strange patterns. Alarms that weren't triggered, patient charts mysteriously altered, and that same man always alert to near misses before they happened. It became clear his hallucinations were warnings of real medical emergencies. After he died from natural causes, the staff realized many of the near disasters he'd predicted would have been fatal if not for his warnings. Sophia often wondered if some patients perceive more than we give them credit for, and how fragile the line between sanity and insight really is in a hospital.